Welcome everyone to the Transform You Live show, where we empower you to transform your life by integrating spirituality, mental health, and business development. Today we have a special guest today, Dr. Mary Poffenroth, a scientist and author of Brave New You. We'll be diving deep into how you can turn fear from a barrier into a guide for personal growth. So why does this matter? You may ask. We face personal and professional challenges all the time. Fear is often seen as a hindrance, but Dr. Poffenroth will show us how to transform it into a catalyst for courage and creativity.
Take a trip and we back, and we'll be right back. I stand for what you stand for. Hey, I get on the mic and I transform. Follow me on this world tour. The asteroid that you can't avoid. Follow me.
We got Mary here with us, and she's spent some time as a NASA payload researcher before. She's now a biology faculty member at the San Jose State University and author of Brave New You. There's some very fascinating stories that she has to share with us. She's the only one in her family to graduate high school and pursue a higher education, which is impeccable. And about her work and what we're going to be talking about more today, she's going to introduce her perspective that fear isn't an enemy to conquer, but an ally to embrace. She has the Neurohacks that she's going to share with us, which are practical strategies to help listeners use fear as a tool for personal transformation. She's right here. So, how's it going, Mary?
It's going really good. Thank you so much for sharing your time and space with me today. Time is one of those most precious of resources for us all. So it's really an honor to be able to share that with you and your community. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know I said some key things about you, but I would like for you to take the time and just maybe, give us a little insider into, who you are, in your own words, and maybe, one of those personal stories that that brought you to where you are now.
Sure. Yeah, I got into this research because I was terrible at understanding my own emotions and navigating like the full spectrum of what it meant to be human. I was raised in a household that was really kind of governed by fear, and it was okay to show happiness and all those positive emotions,
Mm.
but it was never okay to show anything that was considered weakness, right? So never be afraid, never be sad, never be all these things. And so as an adult, when I went into the sciences, as you said, my first big girl job was at NASA. Science was perfect because you didn't have to show your emotions. In fact, you were told not to. You're supposed to take every emotion out of your work and your
Right.
communication. And it was always about the work, not about you. And for a while, that was so comfortable because I didn't know what I was doing with my emotions
Yeah.
anyway. So I was like, this is the perfect place for me. But Spaceship Convoy, which is the STS-107 that I worked payload research on, was the last time that we had a shuttle tragedy that ended with all
Mm.
hands lost. And during that time, it was an opportunity for me to really kind of reevaluate what I was doing as myself, what I was doing with my life, and I wanted
Yeah.
more. So, in order for me to get more, I had to go into that discomfort zone, right?
Mhm.
And part of that discomfort was learning how to navigate these tough emotions. And I was not given any tools. I didn't know what I was
Right.
doing. So I looked for answers in science. I looked for answers in the published research literature, and I looked for answers by trying stuff out, by pushing myself to do stuff that my family never did,
Hmm.
that I was never encouraged to do, that the stories that were told to me about who I was and my place in the world, I rejected those on purpose to try and see how far I could push my ability to build bravery and courage.
That's impeccable. Really impeccable. Um, Especially like from the understanding that fear sometimes people think that like it's supposed to be avoided, and it creates this misunderstanding. And you being raised in a fear-driven household, probably raise it a little bit more. That misconception about fear, and you got an amazing career that you had over at Nassau, and especially going through that traumatic event, losing people. You know, these experiences definitely shape your understanding. Can you share with us how you see now fear as an ally in your life?
Well, yeah, I think it can be a couple different kind of mechanisms as an ally. If you are starting to have that fear arousal, you're starting to feel anxious and you're starting to feel maybe overwhelmed, then you know that you are in a challenging time. And you get to make a choice. You get to make a choice. Are you going to let it back you away from the life that you say that you want? Because those big challenges mean that we are pushing ourselves towards the thing or the things that we say that we want. And if you start to feel that, and you have tools, which are going to be the Neurohacks I'm going to share with you today, to push through those boundaries, then not only are you closer to your goals, but you're able to feel so much more confident that you can take on bigger, better opportunities. And you can also hopefully show people around you, like, hey, by example, or here's a tool that I learned. You should totally try it. And that kind of ripples throughout our communities. So one of my big kind of goals is that I want to start to change the conversation and the way we communicate to ourselves and to others around fear and courage and bravery, but also not just stop with the communication part, but have actionable tools that everyone can use without buying any fancy equipment or anything, without taking any supplements. Like all my neurohacks are something that is completely free that you already have on your person now, or something really low cost, like there's one of the neurohacks around strong smells that will kick your amygdala, which is going to be the fear center of your brain, out of a fear spiral. So something either super, super low cost or 100% free that you can do anywhere, so that it's accessible, that, there shouldn't be a barrier for us to be able to live more courageous lives. Because when we live more courageously, not just our life improves, but our families, our friends, our community, therefore our world is going to get better when we start making courageous choices.
I can't agree with you more, and I definitely resonate with that. And what kind of stood out to me, what you just said, is the fact that people like tend to run to the supplements, and that's the science of all of it too. That got that biological, you know, yeah, thing that people usually tend to think that well, in order to fix this, if it's a biological thing that I'm feeling, then if it's a human behavior issue, I gotta get something to tame that, and you dispelling all of that. Why do you think it's essential to embrace fear instead of just suppressing or avoiding it?
Well, I think it's a good opportunity to also, and I'm going to get to that one, but that in my work, I really focus on non-clinical sensations of fear and anxiety that we all have. And there, is an aspect of clinical anxiety or phobias. Those kind of things definitely need professional support with a clinical psychologist, right? I'm a research psychologist. So my research is kind of like for everyone. Not that it couldn't help people that have clinical anxiety or phobias, but I try to use things that are going to be applicable to everyone, right? So that, because we all, fear is a human experience. Like it's not,
Yes.
it's nothing to be ashamed of. We come to even this discussion with so much shame if we have to share with people that we're afraid of something. And that's part of society telling us that we shouldn't have these feelings when they're just part of the human existence. They're just it's how our brain works. However, it doesn't mean that we have to submit to whatever our brain wants to do, right?
Mhm.
Really, there's no way to not anthropomorphize when talking about this, but in our brain, we have two kind of major players when we're talking about fear and courage and innovation and creativity. So you have the amygdala. The amygdala is going to be kind of in the center part of the brain, one on each side, left and right. They're kind of almond-shaped structures, so they're decently small. And the amygdala is going to be responsible with keeping you safe and alive. It is responsible for
Mhm.
kind of keeping you scared of stuff. And that's a good thing, right? We are all
Right.
here right now listening or talking because we came from a long line of ancestors that were at least scared enough to not die before procreating. Like they got their healthy level of
Yeah.
fear got to the point where they could pass on that genetic information to the next generation. So that is a good thing. But it's about balance, right? That we can't
Right.
just let our amygdalas just run away and control our lives. Because when that happens, when we are spending too much time in a fear arousal state, which many people just call stress, our
Hmm.
prefrontal cortex, which if you took your hand, like slapped your forehead, that prefrontal cortex is going to be right here in the front of the brain. That is where all of our creativity and innovation is going to happen. And the problem is that if we're in a fear arousal state, this goes offline. We can't
Right.
have big, creative, innovative thoughts. We don't make good decisions, right? Think about all the
Yeah.
bad decisions you made because you were afraid. It's not your fault. It's how your brain
Hmm.
works. Like it shuts off. Like if the fear amygdalas are firing up, then your prefrontal cortex is going to take a little nap.
It's true.
That's not right. And that's not
Wow.
helpful for getting to the life that we want. So it's,
Uh,
these neurohacks are just helping you decrease the time spent in that fear arousal and kind of
mhm.
getting a shortcut, a little like cheat code to get your prefrontal cortex back online so that you can get back to doing the thing that you love.
Wow. And that's why you got practical tips and strategies that people can, do every day in everyday situations, and they can navigate their fear, which is why I would like for you to kind of walk us through like a couple of these strategies.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we can do kind of the larger one, which is going to be the RAIN method, and I have downloadables for your community. So I know for myself, I'm a
Mhm.
very visual learner. I like to look at things, and so there'll be a link that I can share with you that anyone can take a look at the downloadables to make it nice and easy while I'm kind of verbalizing these things. So one of the first ones, this is kind of like one of the hallmark of my work is called the RAIN method. And
Mhm.
through this, it's going to, really be able to kind of have a step-by-step structure for you to
Okay.
better understand your fear responses, but also kind of quickly move through those sensations. So what I tell people is if you're in a fear response already, definitely give these things a try. I'll give kind of some more quick wins after I talk about the RAIN method as well. But
Mhm.
practicing with these before you're in like a really high stakes situation is going to be better than waiting until you're about to take the stage for your TED keynote. The first time you practice these are probably not the right
Yeah.
then. It's not that they're not going to work, but you'll probably have your head in other places. So kind of practicing with them can be really helpful. And part of this practice is also understanding the different types of fear that we have. So when we take a look at just if we said like everything we're ever afraid of is kind of one big bucket, we can start to tease those different things out. And this is going to be
Mhm.
important because the work that I do is really good at attacking, if you will, the most insidious types of fear, those fictional fears, and those ones that are internal. So let's start with the difference between factual and fictional fears. So factual fear is going to be something that's happening in the moment. It's a shared
Yeah.
experience, right? And we can do everything from, a school shooting. Okay, that is a factual fear. That's something that's happening in the moment. But a fictional fear may have a grain of truth, but it's something that isn't happening right now. It could be something that is happening, you're worrying about that happened in the past or didn't happen in the past, or something that you're worrying about happening in the future. And that's going to be the
Wow.
one that's causing us the most problems, right? Because when we have a factual fear, we deal with the fear right then and there, and then
Yeah.
and then we move on, right? It's those fictional fears that keep coming back and haunting us when we're trying to go to sleep at 3
Yeah.
a.m., right? Um, when we see our dream job posted and we tell ourselves, no, I don't have enough qualifications. I'm not even going to try. Those types of things, those are going to be those internal fictional fears. And the neurohacks are going to be the best at helping with those. And so with the RAIN method, the RAIN method stands for recognize, assign, identify, and navigate. again, I will have all kinds of downloadables for everyone, and it's going to be free with no sign in, no sign up, none of that, garbaggio. I want to make sure that these are all available for everyone. So if verbalizing isn't the best, don't you worry, I got you. So the first is going to be really to start to recognize, what does your body do when you are stressed, right? Because stress and fear arousal are interchangeable in terms of terms. For me, I'm a shoulder scruncher. So like I'm stressed,
Yeah.
I'm like this, my shoulders are touching my earlobes, and I can get like jaw clenching. Like those are my two
Right.
tells, right? Like, in poker, like what's your tell kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Other people can get dry mouth, can get clammy skin, can get
Mm.
racing heart, foggy thinking, like you're just not thinking straight. The ever present, maybe digestive issues that we'll just leave it there. So like so many things happen, but not all the same things happen to everyone in the same
Right.
way. Right. So I don't know if you would be willing to share, but like what are your kind of tells when you're in a fear arousal state or under a lot of stress?
Yeah, you definitely named them, like the digestive problems and the shoulders. Like, yeah, I carry
Yeah.
a lot of that in the shoulders and clenching the jaw, which is why I got migraines.
Right.
It doesn't really help my migraines at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And so once you kind of say like, okay, I know that if I'm doing this, I need to dig deeper in what is causing this, right?
Hmm.
What kind of internal things am I feeling kind of reacting to? And that is going to bring us to our second phase. And the second phase is going to be the assign. There is a really pretty rainbow flower that also is downloadable on the site that I'll
Yeah.
share with you, that will have all of these different words for you to be able to choose just one word for the thing that you're feeling. And why this is powerful, it sounds really simple, right? A lot of times people say, like, all these things are really simple. Like, because if they're not simple, I won't do them. So I kept them simple so I can remember to do them, and then I'll actually do them. Because I'm, just like you, I'm hella busy. I have like 80 million things going on. And if it's super complex, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just going to keep pushing on through and not do the self-care things that I need to until,
You're right.
right? Until my body is like screaming at me that it's like,
Yeah.
no, you need to calm your socks. And,
Mhm.
here's that migraine. How about now? Doing all these things that I have no choice to pay attention to. So these will help kind of, be easy that you can use anywhere. Um, why it's important in this step to just choose one word, and there's not a word stress, right? Because stress is something we've overused to kind of
Mhm.
mean everything, right? It doesn't have any like power anymore.
Nah.
And choosing just one word also helps to bring the mind back to a sense of logic, right?
Yeah.
If you think kind of emotion and logic, one is going to be, out of balance than the other. Trying to get logic to kind of be the bus driver a little bit
Yeah.
more than runaway emotions is helpful. So just choosing one word that is causing that shoulder scrunching or jaw clenching. After you choose that word, I find, so even though our fear response is binary, as in the amygdala is activated or it's not, the intensity of that fear response is going to be on a spectrum, right?
Mm.
Like sometimes we're hella scared. Like it's a lot. And then sometimes we're just maybe what we would call stressed, right? And then everything in between. So if you're at kind of like the lower intensity, a lot of times people will get to that step 2, a sign, and be like, oh no, actually I feel better. Okay, yeah, I figured it out. I know, I have some like tools that I can then navigate through that and just I'm good. But if you get to the assign, you figure out, okay, what is the one word that I'm feeling? Maybe if it's overwhelmed, right? But you're like, I don't know why. I feel overwhelmed, so at least I know that. But everything's fine. I don't know why. The next thing to try and bring more logic into this sometimes spiraling emotional experience is step 3, which is called identify.
Yeah.
So so in this, um, take a moment and think about like the top few fears that just come to mind that aren't related to spiders or clowns, right? Because usually when you ask people like, what is your
Yeah.
biggest fear? People like spiders. But
Yeah.
you know, but the fears that keep you up at night, right? The fears that
Yeah.
you're actually worried about is probably not clowns. I mean, maybe,
Mm.
but most likely you're not waking up 3 a.m. being like, oh man, I'm just so worried about clowns. Unless you're in the
Yeah,
circus, then maybe.
unless you watch the movie or something. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. Unless you just went to bed and just watched a scary movie
Yeah.
because it's spooky season. And, but,
Uh-huh.
right. But it's usually the fears that really keep us held back are usually more insidious than that. And
Right.
those are going to generally fall into one of two kind of buckets, right? Two rough categories. Either a fear of not being enough or a
Mhm.
fear of losing control. Now, some people argue like really complex fears might be in kind of a both buckets, and that's totally fine. But the point of this step is to pigeonhole them, right? Because that's the process is the point. And sometimes we can get too caught up in our perfectionism and like, no, it has to be in the perfect bucket. It totally doesn't. Just
Mm.
whatever bucket you feel is going to best fit the thing that you are, reacting to right now, put it in that bucket. Some examples of fear of not enough would be like imposter syndrome,
Mm.
right? Not going after that opportunity because you don't feel that you're smart enough or you're fast enough or you're rich enough or you fill in the blank enough, right? And you're afraid of not being enough, so you feel stuck. An example of fear of losing control would be something like aging, right? Like
Yeah.
getting to our elderly years where we lose a lot of our many times lose our autonomy, lose our freedom of movement. um you know that can fall into something like that in that bucket. I mean, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing, but did either of those two kind of like resonate where you could say, oh, here's one of my fears that I have and it would be in this bucket as an example as well?
I don't mind sharing at all. I definitely went down that rabbit hole of like imposter syndrome before, and then after I got over that, it was like, oh well, what if I'm not good enough?
Yeah.
And so those two things. But nowadays, it's like, oh, okay, I'm getting older. My kids are getting older. Like, man, this is scary stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's a practice, right? I have many
yeah.
times the clients that I work with in corporate workshops or at my keynotes, they'll say, well, I mean, do you ever get to a place of being fearless? And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, it's like it's part of the human condition. As long as
Yeah,
you are living,
absolutely.
you will have that natural fear response. It's just that's totally normal.
Right.
But how you deal with that experience and what triggers that fear response changes, and that's where the power is.
Hmm.
The goal is not just to erase fear from your life, because it's not going to happen. That's
Wow.
like saying, okay, well, you don't have to breathe anymore. You're human. If you stop breathing, then you're dead. So it's like it's just that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's just it's part of the package. But we can get better at navigating these normal sensations that are going to come up when we're doing something that is new or change is happening, even if it's something wonderful, right? When people
Right.
welcome in new family members, that's a big scary change. That's huge, but it's not that the fear of it is a bad thing. Is you have the fear because you want to do a really good job. You want everyone to be happy and healthy and supported. So it's not that the fear is bad.
Mhm.
The bad thing is only when we don't have tools to deal with it and we let it take over, and it sucks the joy out of the wonderful thing that we're moving towards, which is kind of the power of my work is giving people that tool set. And part of that tool set is the step four, which is navigate. Navigate in the infographic that I'll share with your community is the box breathing example, but any of the neurohacks are really interchangeable with this fourth step.
Yeah.
And have you done? It's not. I did not invent box breathing. It's Navy SEALs box breathing,
Yeah.
but have
Yeah.
you done that before?
Yeah, after learning about it just like earlier this year, I started
Mhm.
started practicing it, and it's incredible, what it does for you.
Yeah, you can feel it instantly. And the
Yeah.
thing I love about a lot of the neuro hacks is that no one knows you're doing it, right? You could do it anywhere.
Mhm.
You could do it at some high, you know, pressure meeting. And you're like, I'm just breathing, not doing anything. So you don't know that I'm having a fear
Yeah.
arousal. So I'm really gonna play it cool. So, great. Well, why don't we'll just do like a couple, like a couple of rounds here to, uh, give an example. And if people want to kind of like follow along, again, I keep things simple. There's many different types of breath work like this, but I forget all the numbers. So a box has four sides. This has four steps, and you
Mhm.
count to four. Boom. That's
Yep,
how I keep
that's
it.
it.
So,
Yeah.
so I will lead it. It always sounds funny when you're trying to both hold your breath and talk, but we'll give it a go.
Okay.
So we're going to breathe in for a count of four, and we're going to hold our breath for a count of four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to breathe out for a count of four, and then we're going to hold that breath for a count of four. And just that one round, like, I already feel more relaxed. I mean, I don't know about
Man,
you,
it's
but
like weight
I'm just
off my
like,
chest. Yeah.
right. And that's only one round. One round. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so powerful. I mean, if it's good enough for the Navy SEAls,
It
it's
is.
good enough
And it
for
works.
me, right?
Yeah, it definitely works because
Right.
they are pretty badass. Yeah.
Right. Yep, yep. And then you just keep doing that however, many
Mhm.
rounds that you need in order to return to a place of feeling empowered. Because
Yeah.
when you feel empowered, you can say yes to the opportunities. When
Right.
you don't feel empowered and you feel small and you feel stuck and you feel scared, all you want to do is go and hide in the blanket cave. Right? Like you just
Mhm.
want to go back in your sheets, pull the covers up, and just not even play. But that's not where the good life is, right? Some like, cave time in your blankets is good, but not all the time. We have to step outside of the cave, and that can be really scary. So why not make that scary journey easier with things like neurohacks?
Neurohacks is definitely amazing, and I really appreciate you sharing that and really giving us some instant like um, comfort comfort right now. Well, like taking us from like whatever discomfort we was feeling or whatever we was feeling, like just with a little practice of the box breathing. So we got about like a little bit over like 8 minutes left in this particular episode, and like before we let you go, we going to allow you to just give us some takeaways from like the brave new you, and we probably go into like a funny little quick story that like I like to share with everyone that you had. It was an incredible experience you had. So for those who are watching right now or listening right now, we're going to take a quick little break. You have made it, this far, and hear what you know Dr. Poffenroth has to say. It's a little message that she has to give to you, and a little treat. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's Marcus here, host of the Transform You live show. We're talking about embracing transformation, and I've got a powerful resource that will help you do just that. Let me ask you this: what's holding you back from reaching your full potential? For most of us, it's fear. But here's the thing: fear doesn't have to be a roadblock, it can be the very force that pushes you forward. That's why I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Dr. Mary Poffenroth. She's not just a scientist, she's a fear expert with a fresh, transformative approach. If fear is keeping you stuck, Mary's keynote speeches and corporate workshops are designed to flip the script and empower you to make fear your ally. Whether you're leading a team or working on your own personal growth, Dr. Mary Poffenroth's practical neurohacks will help you harness the power of fear to unlock courage, creativity, and innovation. Want to take your organization to the next level? Book Mary for a keynote that will transform the way you and your team approach challenges. Or if you're looking for hands-on strategies, her corporate workshops provide actionable tools to overcome fear-based barriers and thrive. Ready to break free? Visit marypoffenroth.com to learn more about her keynotes and workshops. Remember, fear doesn't have to hold you back. It can be the key to your success. Transform it starting today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with Mary. We have been having an awesome time and getting to know some practical strategies that you can use right away. And she has the book Brave New You that is available, and she has some incredible adventures that that are like from climbing Mount Whitney to to Godola. I mean, it's incredible. And then one of the funniest stories that like I hope she can mention out of the book is one of my favorite ones that I found really intriguing. So, Mary, care to share with us one of those funny stories?
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted for this book is for it to not just be a cookbook of, you know, tips and tricks and not have like the human aspect to it. So
Yeah.
as you know, the book is full of stories of my misadventures of trying to, you know, walk the walk that I tell people to do, because it would be
Hmm.
unfair for me to sit here and tell you and your community of listeners to go do these things while I'm hiding in my bed cave. Like that's not
Yeah.
okay, right? So I do try and push myself to use these things and see how far I can push myself. So and sometimes misadventures and the best stories happen when you aren't really trying to be brave or courageous. It's just as part of life. So this particular story is also one of my favorites. It was my boyfriend, who's still my boyfriend, Craig. For his birthday, he wanted to climb Mount Whitney, which is one of the tallest peaks in the United States, and
Yeah.
wanted to do it up and back in one day, which I'm 5'2", I have tiny legs. I know I will come and support you though at base camp, and I will run support team.
Yeah.
But it's 32 miles in one day is more than my person can handle. So, but we went up
Yeah.
there, and his adult son Riley, was going to do the 32 miles up and down with him, so he wasn't going to be by himself. And we sent him off at the pre-crack of not even dawn at like 3 a.m. to start at the trailhead, and they
Mhm.
make their way off into the wilderness in the dark. And so it's obviously going to be a really long day, and I wanted to, because it was his actual birthday, I wanted to have this really awesome surprise of
Oh,
a hot, yummy, all the meats pizza from this little pizza shop that I saw that was way back down the hill. So I drove the 90 minutes down to where the nearest little tiny town was. Got this just awesome large pizza with cheese and pepperoni and like all the works. And I was so proud of
man.
myself that it was going to be the surprise, and they were going to come off on the mountain all dirty and hungry and be like, look, I'm the best girlfriend ever. I brought pizza. And so super proud of myself. Put the pizza in the car, drive back up, and I'm waiting, for them to return from the hike. And I'm just standing by my car in the parking lot. It's quite busy because it's summer, and this kind of like Mount Whitney Gandalf saunters over, like just randomly, and asks like, "Oh, do you have any food in the car?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, but it's fine because I'm not going anywhere. I'm just waiting for some people." And he's like, I put that in the bear box." I'm like, because we have black bears in California. And I'm like, "Oh, no, it's fine." He's like, "Nope, nope. I'd really do that." And so my bachelor's degree is in biology. One of my three master's degrees is in field biology. And so I'm feeling cocky. I'm like, "I know how to biology, bro. It's fine." But I wanted him to go away.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people just won't go away, and you're like, fine, I'll go put it in the stupid bear box. So take the pizza, put it in like the bear box, which is like just this, I don't know, like 6 foot by 6 foot by 6 foot gray metal thing to keep the bears out of people's food. And I go about my day. It's like starting to get twilight, and we had some text communication every once in a while from the trail, and they were just about to
Mhm.
arrive. And so they come down. I see them coming down, and I'm like, yay! I'm like, hold on, I have a surprise. And they're kind of getting cleaned up at the car, and I go back to the bear box to get my awesome pizza because I'm so proud of myself. And a couple hours had passed, so like people had pushed their food kind of, so it pushed my box in the back, so I kind of like pull my whole like body in there, and I'm like trying to grab it with my fingers, and I hear this yelling behind me, but it's not in a language I understood. And so I kind of ignored it because I was like, they're not talking to me. It's summer, I'm sure, whatever. So I don't pay attention, and I finally, like, my fingers finally grab the box. I pull it out, I look up, and there is a black bear on top of the bear box,
Wow.
like inches from my damn face. So I grab my bear, I mean, grab my bear box. I grab my pizza. I slam the door because I'm not a heathen. I don't want everyone
Uh-huh.
else's food to get eaten. And I start running with the pizza, yelling at Craig, start the car, bear, start the car. And to his credit, he doesn't ask questions. He legit just starts the car. I like barrel roll into the back seat and we take off. And he's like, why, what is happening? And he's like, did you just say that you were running from a bear with a pizza? And I was like, yes. He's like, what? We'll just give the pizza to the bear. I was like, hell, this pizza was $45. This is my pizza. I'm not giving that bear this pizza. Nope, sorry. And then we sped away. And I don't know what happened to the bear, but I'm assuming the bear was fine. Maybe a little startled because like who runs away from a bear with a hot pizza? But but that's that's a example of that factual fear in action. My body just knew what to do. I didn't have to like worry and like, oh, what if the bear doesn't like me? What if the bear thinks I'm fat? I don't know. I just
Yeah.
I just took the pizza and ran. Like, see ya, gotta go. And my fight or flight was like, we got this. And it was a shared experience because other people could see the bear and were freaked out about the bear. And that's kind of that's type of fear that is a really funny story, and I don't have to agonize and torture myself over it. Was it the smartest thing to run away from a bear with a pizza? No, but that's what my brain decided. So it just happened. Action, boom, done. And everyone was fine. So it had a happy ending, and
no
everyone
bears
loved
was
the
hurt
pizza.
in this movie.
Yeah, right. No bears were hurt. Now a little disappointed, maybe like, hey, I really want some of that pizza. But, in hindsight, looking back, it probably wasn't the smartest thing for me to bring a hot, yummy, delicious pizza. But whatever, we don't always make the best decisions and it's still okay.
That's a very excellent example, and I know that's really going to help some people and really transform their lives from just stories like that, and and great comparisons to like in correct contrast to like what 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 the spirit is really for and what what it should be for. So I love it.
Yes.
So with that said, we made it to the end here. Maybe just give us a your recap of like what some key takeaways they should take home today, and maybe they already at home, so we don't know. But wherever they are in the world, like some real good key takeaways, and some closing remarks that be appreciative by our listeners and viewers today.
Yeah, I mean, I think just starting to think differently about fear is such a big step, right? To
Yeah.
say no to society telling us that we should be ashamed of being fearful,
Mhm.
rejecting this idea that fearlessness even exists, and accepting that there are tools out there that are something you can use immediately to start to move through these sensations so that you can get the life that you want, because that life is on the other side of fear. Like, whether or not we want to argue that it is. And for myself, writing this book, including these stories that are my stories, my personal stories, and not all of them are funny. A lot of them are
Mhm.
like, from my kind of childhood, and stories that I've never shared on the stage or the page.
Mm.
I mean, through this whole process, totally scared as hell, but I knew it was important work to do. This, I'm embarking on my very first national book tour. Also
Yeah.
really scary. Like, I've never been on a book tour. I'm an academic. But it's important to feel the fear and do it anyway.
And this book is so timely, right in the month of fear. Halloween is
Right?
supposed to be a fear month, and we celebrate, being scared to death. And so I really appreciate you, Mary. You're truly incredible. All of the work you have done. You got an amazing backstory, and like anytime you want to come back again, feel free to like come holler at us. We really
Awesome.
appreciate you today.
I would love that. Thank you so much for sharing again your space and time. It's our most valuable resource. So thank you.
Indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, you got a quick insight and to Mary's world and all that she's offering in Neurohacks. Something you definitely want to explore more of. We got our website in the episode link description below somewhere or to the side, or however you are viewing or listening. Check it out. Click on our website link and see all that she's offering, and definitely get the new book, Brave New You. So I'm Marcus. Until next time, many blessings, peace, and lots of love.
I stand for what you stand for. I'm at your door like the landlord. I can see the future, yeah, I fast forward. I get on the mic and I transform. Follow me, I'm in rare form. Follow me on this world tour, the asteroid that you can't avoid.